Call the meeting to order, after 7:30. First thing is approval of the minutes, September 4.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes of September 4th.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Let's see, addition to agenda item 2, one is the Northwest COG meeting last Thursday, and the second one is our annual report. Is there a second to add those two?
Second.
Are there any other?
Yeah, I thought I should just let everybody know I got this in the
Okay.
email this week about the train campaign. You might want to
Right.
announce that.
Okay. Thursday's 20. Coming up. Okay.
Is that an addition or just an announcement?
Hey, let's put that under communications, so it gets
So Richard seconded the other two, yeah.
Yeah.
right.
And all in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Alright.
Next is communications. We've got posters now about the annual community vigil, which will be here on October 2nd on the town green at 6 o'clock. It's sponsored by the Women's Support Services, and I think this board will be there supporting them in their good work to try to make
Yep.
this area a better place. And so anyway, that is there. Richard can put it up on the screen if you want to put it up on the screen. And I think it's already in the paper, isn't it, Lyle? Great. Next communications, we have one from Priscilla that on September 20th, which will be this Thursday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. There's a meeting in the Milford Town Hall of Bring Back the Trains Forum, and it's being sponsored by Milford Mayor Pete Bass and State Representative Bill Buckby. There's an open forum on Passion Rail Service. Basically, this is trying to restore rail service up to up into Berkshire County, which will be going through Cornwall. So anyway, I don't think I'll be able to go, but I'm sure I'm interested that campaign is still underway. Having seen the tracks recently, then they seem to not be much better than they were in the past as far as their condition. And I know they are trying to put in new cross ties and things, but they're still pretty wavy. So I mean, I think a complete restoration of the tracks would be a good thing. So this is part of that. So we'll stay focused on that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. The only other communication I had was a visit to the office last week by two gentlemen from the USDA Grant Service Rural Development Program on their way from Kent to Norfolk. Both of those towns are underway with upgrades and to their sewer systems. And it's pretty amazing what's going on there. But I guess the big news from them was that they'll be in the area every month, and they'd be glad to stop by. And I know our septic committee is going to be meeting this fall, and one of the things they're working on is what is the real grant loan situation, what's the financial situation, and they'll be glad to come to a meeting. They also do know Steve McDonald because he's doing the work up in Norfolk, and who is also working with our local committee, and they speak very highly of him. Knows his stuff and knows of systems that are appropriate for small towns. So anyway, it was good to meet them, and they also said that Norfolk was able to get a higher grant allocation than they initially thought, so that would also be a big impact on the viability of a project here. So anyway, it was a nice visit, and they'd be glad to come back anytime.
Good.
So that was a good visit. Um, and then also we did get a letter from Sydney K. Group, which I will send on. I did talk to Pearlie a little bit about that, so he's going to be working on researching what we have to do to fold the Sydney K fund into the town foundation. So we have that
The town endowment.
in the town, in the town
Yeah.
endowment. The other communication I got was from Buddy Herbert, who's a farmer in Cornwall Hollow, and he has pictures of the damage to his corn crop that bears have done over the summer, and it's pretty dramatic. If you look at
The bears did this?
yes, there's 5 bears that are working this, and
Kind of
the
hard to tell
damage
what we're looking down on.
the damage has increased
grown
over the last
for-
couple of years, but DEP trapped them and then released the bears, I guess last year, a couple. So the pictures get more. And you can
Oh.
see here they've taken out a whole section which is probably 1,000 feet long. And I've heard from other farmers too, they're going into field corn and just leveling fields. So
Look at
it's
that,
a big,
that's just the whole, right down the whole.
Yeah.
yeah, so basically
I'm not
he,
sure what that is. whether
they,
that's corn
yeah,
or
that's
something.
just dead grass here, but this is
Yeah,
a whole
that's-
section that's
yeah.
totally taken out.
How
Wow.
many rows is that? That's
It's probably
1,
8
2,
rows.
3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, eight
And again,
rows,
that
yeah.
the one that's still there is immature, but he said every time anything's been ready, they've leveled, and that's probably acres of corn, and has made it unviable for him to grow corn. So I've proposed to send these on to Senator Craig Minor, who I know has been active in trying to get some dialogue going on the exploding bear population, because also I have heard of increased stories of bears going in people's houses this year. So I think it is important to document that 30 years ago there were no bears in this area. Now it's
Are you
just-
saying that the DEP trapped them and put them in that area, or
no,
they trapped them and
trapped
took them away?
and then they tased it or did something, spanked it a couple times, and
Tagged it?
tagged it,
And-
whatever,
and
and
just
released
released it.
because they have no place to put them because every place is full, and they can't apparently go across state lines. And this was a couple years ago, so of course they've multiplied since then, and now the damage is also multiplied.
So are we gonna recommend that they have a bear hunting season
Well, I think
now?
it's important to document the damage that's being done up here is the first thing, and I'll leave it up to a wildlife biologist to say what's the best way of dealing with an exploding population. But clearly it's causing damage that wasn't here until very recently. And again, as they develop a taste for things, they're going to continue to multiply.
Well, that's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen them on River Road regularly.
Right.
But there's been no damage,
Right,
to my knowledge.
yeah.
But
But I've heard other
wow.
people have field corn that's been flattened.
Yeah, I think you're right, it is 8 rows.
Yeah. So, anyway, just what's
That's
going on,
impressive. That's impressive. Yes, it is.
just, I mean,
It's
absolutely,
scary, actually.
absolutely
Well,
flattened.
I mean, the fact is though, they didn't necessarily eat all that, they just have to run through it.
Yeah.
A bear
But
just
lot
has
of
to run
that's
through it,
been
like a car
actually-
driving through it. Or
Yeah.
a small Volkswagen or something.
So, yeah, and just think what, with all that good corn, what the population is going to be next year.
Right, they're eating pretty well,
Right.
that's for sure.
So, anyway, that's our communications. Any public comments? Okay. Photos. Let's see, next is bridges. So we'll send these pictures off to Senator Minor. Let's see, bridges, Priscilla probably knows the Smith Place Bridge, they started today.
Yes, it was.
Tearing up to the thing. Jim got the access road done. We got some cars moved, trees down, so they're going at that. So that's good. And I hear they're making, well, I see they're making excellent progress on the cover bridge.
Oh, yes, it was.
Yeah. Any updates on that, Richard?
Hopefully maybe it might be done a week ahead of time, but
Yeah, I've heard they're running ahead, and you never
Yeah,
want to say
right.
that until
Right.
it's done, but they certainly are working hard, long hours, and,
Great bunch of guys, yeah.
yeah.
And the boards are still available if
Uh-huh.
you want to.
They haven't all
Yeah,
gone
they-
away?
No, they're about 60 or so.
Uh-huh.
But a lot
Okay.
of people have taken them. It's been great.
Yeah.
Recycle.
Great. Okay, so anything else on bridges? So I'll stop down there. And again, they're hoping that they have a month to complete the Smith Place Bridge, but they're hoping to be able to do it quite a bit quicker than that, so.
The fact that they started today, they haven't removed the old one yet? Or did they take it out today?
Yeah, well, they were cutting into it. I think they blocked it off, so it's basically,
It's not it's not,
Can't use it
Can't
it's
anymore.
not
use it.
travelable.
Yeah.
It's got big
Okay.
concrete blockers,
Yeah.
and so you
Okay.
can't get onto
It's
it
blocked
from
off,
128. And they were drilling in it this afternoon. They
yeah.
were,
Probably making
and the
access
trees
holes.
came down yesterday. Some trees came
Making
down.
access holes to pick it up and
Yeah.
move it on.
Yeah, so anyway, those projects are going. Next is, unfortunately, Terry Burke is reaching a milestone, 70 years old, and he said at that point he has other things to do besides being the emergency management director. He liked the job, he did an excellent job. It's found sometimes the state requires a lot out of volunteers. And he would like to retire. So again, it's a loss, but we can understand how there's other things to do. And so we'll be looking for someone to do that. His recommendation is that we get somebody from the fire department, just because they're often involved with emergencies, although it doesn't have to be. And that's his recommendation.
Does he have somebody in particular that he's recommending?
No, he has a couple of assistants who have not expressed interest in moving up to the big one. So.
So when does this take effect?
The end of October.
Oh.
So I think, you know, I'm going to start I've asked a couple people, so hopefully we can fill it.
Do we have
this
to
month.
interview those people?
We can if we get more than one, but we're lucky. I'd like to think we could interview those people, but if we get someone who's qualified, I think I will present their credentials and.
Qualified and willing would be
Yes,
probably
yes,
very good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
Maybe even qualified and unwilling, we may still.
Right, we'll take that. It was funny because Terry did a lot of work at the UN, and I asked him to do it, and he said, well, I had a lot of time dealing with civil wars in Africa. And I said, well, that qualifies you pretty well to be emergency management director in Cornwall, and he's done a great job getting us on Facebook and a lot extra things to make it real and personal to residents. And you know, went as far as visiting people during storms, and he took me on a hike around the big brush fire, and he's much faster walker than I am, so we wish him well. Next is the Cornwall Goshen bus bill. The bus bill on its first full year went about $7,000 over what we appropriated, which is about double what we thought it was going to be. We put $7,000 in the budget. It wound up costing 14 and change. Primarily because we had, you know, increased ridership and a lot of single rides, which we initially thought we'd be able to congregate some of those things. So, I mean, I think it's a good service. We'll be able to cover that out of contingencies, but going forward, we try to make sure we have an efficient system. So I'm meeting with Bob Valentine from Goshen and people at the Gear who also have been taking some of our calls to see what the best setup is for the three organizations, and hopefully get some feedback on that. So that meeting will be early October.
Do we have some kind of idea? We can talk about how long that there was, you know, 9 people that used it this week, or whatever. However many people. What am I trying to say? There's riders. How long? How many riders used the bus?
Right, we have data as far as ridership.
Right. And that's sort of one set of numbers, but sometimes a ride can constitute, 4 or 5 hours.
Correct.
And so my question is it's not just the number of riders per se, it's, the bus was in use
Right.
all day, but
Right.
maybe it only moved one person. But it took all day. They've had to pick them up,
Yep.
drive 30,
It
40
basically
minutes.
goes
drop-
to this part of Litchfield County. I mean, we're not going down to Danbury.
No, I understand,
So
but
it's-
even so, just as we all know, doing errands sometimes takes forever.
Right.
And sometimes some of these people can be sort of slow moving and slow going. You
And
go to a
have to
doctor's,
wait.
you have to go to a doctor's
Right.
appointment and the doctor's delayed and it's an hour later. Your 10 o'clock appointment becomes 11.
But I think the major complaint that Gordon brought up last time was that it was so many single riders,
Right.
which was why Gear was attractive, because they do something with cars, which is much easier than
Right.
having a van take
Right,
one
and also
person.
they can congregate some of the calls, because they may have people from Gear that are going to Sharon anyway, so they could swing by
Yeah.
Cornwall and pick up a rider on the way to Sharon. So that's the hope,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
more than a hope. So I'll sort of talk to them ahead of that and just keep you guys in the loop as far as what's our best setup.
Okay.
Anything else on that? Our discount prescription drug program cards came, I got mine in the mail today,
Yeah, I did too.
right? So, are a lot of these posters up yet? I think we put,
Nope, I haven't put any posters up.
right, so we got a whole
Maybe if you
pile.
hold it up and Richard can take a picture, it'll get a start on it.
Right, so people should know that when they get this, their cards in the mail, which will look
Yeah, alert them that
like,
it's not junk mail or.
yeah, this is the real deal. And you can actually take that, Rich, if you want to put it up to the post office or someplace. It's a real deal. It's supposed to give people 10 to 20% of name brand medications and maybe up to 70% on generics. It's also it's primarily for when people's prescriptions are not covered by insurance. So, and also their pets. So anyway, that's the report on that.
But even if you have insurance, you can still use it.
Right, you can try it and see what it
It may help. Yeah.
does. Let's see now. The next thing is oil bids. And okay, we asked a couple of companies for oil bids. Superior Energy came back with $2.98 fixed price. Called up Sharon Oil, Grzowskis. Yeah, I'm sorry, Goshen Oil. And his price is almost the same. You can read the details. He has a downside insurance fee to participate in the cap price of 20 per gallon. By purchasing this non-refundable insurance, you are guaranteed to never pay more than your cap price per gallon, and if the market price is lower on the day of delivery, you'll be charged lower price. So currently, the price is $2.79 a gallon plus 20 cents for 20 cents a gallon for the insurance. So in other words, it will go down. If it goes down, we win. Got it? It's all variations on the same theme, and almost all of them are going to be just under $50 a gallon.
Oh, this is just Club. What are we doing here? Who's Club?
Kleb is the group he's working with out of Winston when he does his cab prices. So, I'd say we should try Goshen Oil doing business as Kleb for a couple of reasons. One, the fact that the manager came down here and delivered it. He is a former fire chief in Goshen, and his driver lives in Cornwall. So they're all people we
Yeah.
know, and again, we've had problems with the firehouse running out, and I think that's sort of what we're looking for, is somebody we know that can give us good service and see where we're at.
I'll be right back. You'll have
Okay.
to excuse me for a couple of moments.
So the,
So we'll wind up with,
what, this is, it ends up being a little bit higher than the previous,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
the fire department doesn't want to use, is not interested in
in
the
the
same,
co-op.
yeah, the same
deal.
experience that they had
Right.
last time. No, I understand.
Yep.
As are several other members that were in the co-op.
Right.
And we guesstimate how many gallons that, or do we sign up for a certain amount of gallons? Or
Approximately 2,000, but I'm not sure actually. I think it was 2,000 per.
For firehouse is what you were guessing earlier.
What? 2,000
for firehouse you were guessing.
Right, but he has $2,000 per.
Really?
Yeah.
2,000 gallons.
Right. So what to do is we'll have to get a real number before we sign this.
Barbara will have that.
Yeah, we use 10,000 gallons overall between here, firehouse, garage, firehouse. So each one uses, I mean, this little building uses far less. This probably.
No, of course, of course. Now, I know, I'm sort of forget where we are in the West Cornwall renovation.
We're going with the system we have until we get all the architectural details.
Right, but has the insulation been done yet or not?
We've contacted, I haven't heard back. We have contacted, we're ready to go. We're just ready to, we're prepared for the installation.
Yeah,
We're
right,
just hearing
right,
back from the company, which I called them, but I don't think we've gotten anything back from their estimator, have we?
Well, the only reason I'm bringing that up is I mean, I know we've done the prep work to
Right.
whatever it was, raising certain things in certain areas to be able to do the installation.
Yeah, we should see some.
And to see some savings from it,
Right,
I would think.
right.
But maybe that'll be coordinated with not the addition, the renovation.
No, we want to get the installation in now. The renovations probably won't happen until next year, 2019.
And that's really a separate space because the insulation is over the.
Correct. It's over everything.
Oh, is it over everything? Over
It's the whole ceilings in all three parts.
Over the vehicles?
The bays and the meeting room.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was
It's a lot
the
of
whole thing.
insulation.
Well, that'll make a big difference.
I think so. Yeah. So, anyway,
Even if the garage door is open.
yep.
Suck it out, yeah.
Okay.
So do you want,
You have a motion. I think we might as well go, as the price of oil, I think, is going up. As we've seen since September 4th, it's gone up 15 cents.
So I'll make a motion that we enter into a contract with Goshen Oil for their capped price with an option. So the capped price with the option being the downside insurance fee of 20 cents a gallon, which may or may not be payable ahead of time, I think was the last plan required that.
Right.
Second.
And you have to determine sort of what the guesstimate of
Right.
how many gallons it'll be. And I would contend that we should figure a little less than what was used the last 2 years because
Right,
the installation
right.
will save.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
if you determine what West Cornwall used, you know,
Right.
take off 10 or 15% anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, in the end, if you need more oil than you've contracted with, you pay at the going rate at the time, I assume.
right. Or maybe it's the amount you use for the period.
Or it's,
Right. Okay. So, any more discussion on oil? All those in favor?
Aye.
Hammond Beach report, did see Marina Kachabi, our beach director. She was happy to report increased use of the beach this year, partially because of the dock, but also partially because of more programs there. So she's very happy with the summer, and I think a lot of people are too that went up there. So we're now working on getting the docks back out and cleaned for the season. So I think they worked well, and people like them. In the beach, the swimming team season seemed like it worked well. So anything else on that? Tax refund, do we have a tax refund, Joyce?
Yes.
Someone, yeah, got it.
Do those new docks get stored right there at the beach?
Yeah. Great, thank you. Okay, we have a refund of $25.54 refunding to a taxpayer for overpayment of motor vehicle tax. So, on recommendation of the tax collector, I would say we go ahead with this $24.54. Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Next item is Torrenier Health District Representative vacancy. Tommy Giuliano, who works down at the landfill and has been our representative on Torrenier Health, has had to move from Cornwall because the house he was renting was sold, apparently, or anyway, they relocated to Torrington. He still feels he wants to return here at some point. Initially, I thought he'd have to resign, but he talked to the director of the department. And he said if he still have an intention to be in Cornwall, and he certainly will be here, he can still be our representative. So until we have a line of people that want to do that job, I would suggest we just keep him in there, even though he's not physically living here. I don't think there's a requirement that you have to be an elector in order to be a representative, for the short term anyway.
I would agree, certainly for the short term.
Right.
I mean, I believe his intention would be to be coming back. He's
Right.
been here for a number of years.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's a non-issue for the time being. He did resign also. He did resign from Park and Rec, and as he will be living there, he just felt it would be hard to make a lot of meetings and activities. So that will be a vacancy. So that's a real vacancy. And I'm working with John Sanders, chair, to work on a couple of potential candidates. So again, if you hear people that are interested in that, please bring them forward. Back to our additions. Priscilla and I both went to the Council of Governments meeting last Thursday. It was quite an interesting meeting, a lot of things going on in the area, and ideas generated about what's going on in our town, as well as what's going on in other towns. So first thing got out of that meeting was that on October 13th there is going to be a hazardous waste collection day in Torrington, It is at a new site, and Joyce has all the information here at the office. If people have hazardous waste they need to get rid of. So that's October 13th, which is a Saturday.
We posted on the Cornwall website too.
Yeah?
Yeah, so.
I think it already is, but
Yeah.
I sent it to Kara, yeah.
So that is,
People just have to register, is that before they go? And
Yeah.
You get a ticket to turn.
That's the only requirement.
yeah. So, so that's one event. Second thing, every day, or every meeting, they go around town by town and say what's new in your town. And a couple interesting things that I thought came up in different towns that have different things going on. One was in Washington, they've had a real increase in tourism this summer season by plugging the arts, and they had a sculpture walk around town, and first selectman said he couldn't believe the amount of people that came into town just to go on the sculpture walk around. It wasn't just on the green, it was in different places, so that might be something Cornwall could pull off in a good year. So just pass that along. Also, they had a well-attended arts festival in town on our farm, so that had a lot of people coming into to Washington. Kent had also a similar Ideas Festival, Kent Presents, which was well attended. Warren, their report was they lost their last 2 dairy farms, so the first time in town's history there's no cows being milked in Warren, which again is maybe a sign of the times, but too bad. Then also got a pretty good update on Sharon Hospital from Brent Colley, who's the first selectman in Sharon, and they've reached out to Health Quest, and again I've talked to Brent and said we're as a town concerned about keeping the maternity services there, so he knows we support their efforts to try to keep Sharon Hospital as full and as robust as possible. So that's again a variety of issues that are out there in the area that affect us in one way or the other. Next at the meeting was a interesting presentation by 2 people that run the homeless shelters in Torrington and Winsted, and they had some updates for towns about what's going on. And what was I think also interesting in their presentation was that the primary people that are using their shelters on a temporary basis, and again they try to get people there on a very short-term basis and get them into more permanent housing, is seniors that have had financial difficulty, young families who've been displaced, lost their rents or whatever, veterans, a significant amount of veterans in the shelters, and displaced workers, people like that lost their job at Kmart or whatever. When that closes, then all of a sudden, there's no money coming in, so they need a place. And what was also interesting was that the people there said that a significant amount of people come to the shelters from the rural suburban areas surrounding Torrington. That probably half the people are coming out of these hill towns because they're also having economic problems that are making them leave their hometowns and move. And what's also happening is when young families get uprooted, then they still have a right apparently, or they have a understanding that even though they're in the homeless shelter, they make an arrangement to have the kids the option of trying to stay in the schools that they were at in their hometowns. So it's a complicated issue, but again, something that resonated was the need for affordable housing in all these towns, or else people, will lose their the ability to live in their hometown. So I relayed this to the group that's working on the housing section of the town plan. So it's another angle that I hadn't really thought about, equating homelessness with the need for affordable housing in these towns.
And
So-
Ella Clark was there.
Ella
And
Clark
I think
was
that
there
was
too.
the reason she was
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
And the gathering place that they mentioned, which is in Torrington, where they
Right.
allow them to they have laundry set up for
Right.
homeless people
Yeah.
and showers and stuff. Our Litchfield Board of Realtor office is adjacent to that in the same little
Okay.
place. And we've been encouraged for years now, whenever we go there for a meeting, to bring in soaps and cleaning supplies, and we always
Right.
do, and we just donate it to them. So they have a good outreach program.
Right.
Very good outreach program.
Yeah, and they had a list of things I'm going to pass on to Heather Deneen as far as things they wanted to reach out for. So, yeah, they had 14,000 people visit the gathering place in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's, almost 5,000 people per year. That's
It's a lot of people.
a lot. So,
That's over 100 a day? No, it's 10 a day, 15 a day.
yeah. One thing they did stress was if people find themselves in a housing crisis, they can call 211, which is a state service that will link people up with services to help with housing, people in housing crisis. So again, that's the services out there that people can call that number, and that sort of helps as a first step. So anyway, that was interesting meeting. Also at the meeting, there was a presentation from the Northwest Regional Workforce Investment Board. And that is another regional organization that the town is in the catchment area. And there is a contract that we signed. They basically cover towns from the northwest corner down as far as Danbury, Waterbury. I'm seeing Bridgewater and Woodbury, Wolcott. So anyway, so there is they have redone some of the other towns. Attorneys had raised some points about the contract, so they have redone substantially the contract to meet those concerns, and I think the people there were happy with their responsiveness to those concerns. And I have a copy here, which is their red line copy and changes, which are quite substantial. So if you guys want to look at this, then we'll vote on it next meeting. And Leo Paul and Leo Paul for Selectman of Litchfield, and Eleanor Carbone, Mayor of Torrington, sit on this board. So that's, I think, again, somewhere I have the numbers, but there was a significant amount of people that go to that from Cornwall to basically get job training and getting organized as far as getting into the workplace. So I think that's where we're at. So I do need to sign this soon, but we want to look at what we're signing, and it sort of said I think they've updated their their agreement. So that's something that's, again, on our agenda. So, look forward to some good reading.
When do we have to, when do you have to sign?
Well, you know, hopefully by the first of the, definitely by the first of the year. They want to know they're keeping going forward, but I'd rather just do this so we get it off the plate. I looked through this and I don't have any problems, and I think this is, you know, a really good program that we should
Yeah,
support.
I just want to make sure
So,
that the timeframe isn't
Yeah.
October 1st or something.
It's not
That's-
October 1st, and
Okay.
I think we're meeting close to that time anyway. So I will call up Kathy, and who runs the program, and tell her we're in process. Okay, does that sound good?
Yep,
Yeah.
sounds very good.
Okay.
Can we ask for copies of that so we can
Absolutely,
read?
we'll send, we have these all electronically, right, Joyce? Or,
That came in the mail,
that came in the mail?
yeah.
All right, so,
So I can scan it and send it to you if you like it.
Perfect.
right.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
'Cause I
there
can
is,
just print it
so you
out.
have
I
two
like
things.
it.
One, you had the marked up copy, which has a lot of,
That's
which, if, can we scan it in color? Because some of the,
Yeah.
you have the original things, you have the deleted
I think
pieces.
this scans black and white on it. I don't think it
Right,
has color.
so maybe what I can,
I could try it over there and see.
what I can do to save paper, maybe I can just give this to Priscilla, and maybe you just drop it off at Richard's when you
Oh,
finish
sure.
looking at it.
I can do
think
that.
that would
Yep.
save time and paper.
You're all for that.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Before
I-
you leave, though, you want me to scan it in case it gets lost?
Well, I have the
he's
final
trusting me.
version.
He's got
Okay,
the
he's
final
got
I,
version.
yeah,
This is the mark.
we can always get the, yeah, that's the marked up one. This is the final
Okay,
agreement,
That's the one.
which we have 2 copies of.
good.
Okay.
This
And
just says draft all over it, so.
I'll give the 2 copies back to Joyce. So, lastly, we have,
Just want to look at this.
all right. Let's see, so next we have, last we have our, I drafted up a annual report, summary of our events.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had any changes, you have a chance to read it. Sorry, I sent it out sort of midday today, but we
I
sort
saw it
of,
at the end of the day.
No, I printed out my own copy. Looks good to me.
I did like the sort of the opening line or two there, that we're addressing issues as the town constructed a bridge to the future, but there should be even another line that ties it into the, both physically and
Yeah.
mentally. But
it's a little subtle, but like last year's theme was water, and now this year's theme
You know,
is
something,
bridges to the future.
these bridges are both metaphorically and
Right.
physical.
It's kind of subtle, but,
And it was very positive that you talked about the expansion of businesses.
right.
That was a good plus.
Yes, life science, and we could talk about increased enrollment in school and things, but I think it's important because a lot of people
Very important.
know all the work that's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it's sort of, you forget that these things, that last summer, you know, a lot of things happened this year.
Right,
You know, the hydrant went in, the tanker, you know, just a lot of things have been going
right,
on.
and there's more things that even got on the page.
A lot of things are happening, for sure.
I didn't put in the thing about the state financial crisis, because that seems like that went back and forth, and we spent a bunch of time talking about it, but we sort of wound up in the same place as we started, so it's like, that's sort of like,
That's a continuing saga.
yeah,
It may
and
change
again,
next
we could say it's gonna change with the new governor, probably, sort
I
of.
think we need to take out first there.
Oh, yes, definitely,
And
okay.
Barbara's not gonna be back till Thursday, and I'm sure she'll have a full plate, so why don't you take that back with you, and if you have any changes, I have no pride of authorship.
I just demoted Richard and myself because it says first selectman next to everybody.
Oh, good. Well,
So I just demoted us.
make people read it.
What?
You can put assistant first selectman. Okay, so any changes, let us know. Barb will probably get to this. I think our deadline's next Monday or something. But she'll have things to do on Thursday, probably. Okay,
So how
so,
does that correlate to her getting, this is the deadline, this is all related to the town report,
correct,
but now we have issues,
with the state. But she still has to get all these things in, and if we can help her by getting ours in early.
no, of course, but I'm just wondering, now, was the auditors want the information from the state, the audited information from the state about the,
Teacher pension contribution.
which is sort of in delay, and that's part of the process. But does that actually, they want it for their report, but is that part of their report actually in
Yes.
our town report? It is.
If you want to dig out your old report, there's a little line that says state contribution to teacher pension, $453.
Oh,
Or
that-
it's
that-
actually a lot more than that.
Yeah, that line is the line
That's
that,
in there, and it's kind of like a funny line because it just blows through the town books, but as it's an expenditure made on behalf of the town, apparently the auditing standards said that should be put in there.
and
It
it's
has
always been
put-
there, it's always
Well,
been.
it's been there since the state did the uniform accounting procedures.
Okay, so last several years.
Yeah, 5 years.
Right.
Which I'm not sure the state follows the same procedures, but that's another issue. But do as I say, not as I do.
So most of our report will be delayed until, most of the report will be completed.
Right, so
Except
she'll
for that
have,
one line, that one page and
she'll
one line.
have
that has to
50
be
out of
done.
60 pages done,
Right,
and then be able to put it together.
okay.
Okay? All right, so that, I think, covers everything, pretty much. So, we'll accept this and then we'll get a fresh copy for you all to sign. Can you come by on Monday or something, whenever we do it, but at least that way we can get a not yet sufficient grade on our report. Incomplete, till we get it all done.
It makes you think about what did happen over the last year.
A lot of stuff. Okay, so can check that off. So let's see, so that's our additions. Any other public comments? Any questions from the press?
I've got a question.
Good.
I'd like the name of the man again who has the farm that the rampaging bears.
Buddy Hurlbert, who's officially Alan Hurlbert the third.
Third.
Yeah.
H-U-R-L-B.
URT.
URT.
R-T.
Yes, and he's in the phone book.
And you know how many acres he has there?
How many acres is farm or how many acres of corn?
Well, let's say how many acres to the farm.
His farm is roughly 80 acres, of which probably 4 or 5 are or were in sweet corn.
In sweet corn, okay.
Yeah.
And how many bears were there, do you think?
He saw 5 at once.
5 at once, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
And he's in the book. I'm sure he'll give you some quotes. Right. Good. All right. Any other comments? So we're set, except for bill payment and bank reconciliation. Thank you.
That's it, okay.
Okay.